Hello again everybody, Static Oz here. Last video we unpackaged the new adapter for the TMX Pro, Thrustmaster TMX Pro, and the new steering wheel. Today we're going to try and get them all together and see how that works. I have already pulled the screws out of the wheel. You'll see a pile of screws right here. I've already pulled all the screws out of the wheel just to make it a little quicker so we can get into the wheel a bit easier and get everything happening. But I'll show you exactly how we pull that apart and how we get all these parts together. First thing we're going to do though, we're going to mount the steering wheel onto the adapter. Now we already know from pulling it apart, you can see, what we got here, we can see these little holes. See these holes there. They are for the screws that hold the current wheel in place. These are the big fellas right here. There are two of those. They point straight up and down. So we know that just from pulling the wheel apart. One thing I was unsure of when we picked this up is if these nuts in the back, we know that they're, oh, there we go, we've got a couple of them a little loose. So they sit in there a little loose, but that's fine because we're not going to have too much of an issue with that. What we'll do is pull these screws out. We'll get this other wheel mounted on. I'm going to sit this on later on. I'll get a little bit of plastic, cut up a little bit of plastic to sit inside, which will sit between the wheel here and this, and I'll have a vinyl logo, vinyl static logo put onto that. So I put a little bit of myself into the wheel. So I'd originally thought that these nuts would not fall out. I was incorrect. That's not a huge thing. A little dab of super glue would fix that, not a problem. It's not a huge issue. So we'll get that happening. We'll get everything on. Undo these. The wheel came with another set of screws. You'll see these ones have actually got a like a beveled edge on them, like a countersunk edge. What I'll do, I'll drop these. Put them in when we need to. You'll see there's a countersunk edge on them. They're not needed with this. These ones here have a flat edge, so we're going to use that. Okay, you don't want to fall out now. Very good. It's fine. The more that want to stay in, the better. That was one of the things I was unsure of, whether these would fall off or not. I was wondering if the manufacturer hadn't super glued them in to start with. But it's not a huge issue. As I said, we can just put them in as we go. It's not going to be a drama for us at all. But if they do fall out, I'd rather them fall out now, while I have control of them, and I won't lose them. Hopefully, lose them. That was the plan. Put these up here. The new hardware that came with the steering wheel included an Allen key. Allen key was the correct size. I think it's a pretty generic size, so I'll sit these ones here. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll sit that there for the moment. We'll sit it off to the side. I'll get the wheel up and we'll get that going as well. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so here we have the actual Thrustmaster TMX Pro. As you can see, we've sort of already undone parts just to make things a little quicker. So we pull the wheel off. Again, there's a screw top, screw bottom. They're the two big ones that we saw. Now to get to these, you actually need to turn it upside down, and you'll see that in this actual plastic race itself, there is a slot here. It sits in the bottom, and that's where you can actually access both of these screws from when it sits in place. So you undo that, you pop the wheel out. You can see there's a cord there that holds it together. We don't want to lose that. So we'll sit our wheel down, face down there. We undo there's four screws around that. We undo that. Inside the top here, there is another 3. 1, 2, and 3. And they actually hold the top plastic to the whole base. Once you've done there, we'll flip it over. There is 7 screws around the bottom. You'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7. We undo all of those. So I think that is 14 in total. I'm sitting over here with the 2 fat ones with the steering wheel. Sit that back down. You can actually see it's quite hot in here at the moment. What we're going to do, if I can show you, you want to push. You'll see there's a line that goes through here. It actually splits the 2 casings apart. You want to push in underneath the top one, and that will actually pop the whole top off. So it is that simple to get the top off. What we want to do after that is we want to grab our snippers, which I've not done. I'm not prepared myself very well. Grab our snippers. There's 2 cable ties that I've found in here. We want to cut those off. So those 2 cable ties are sitting both in the same spot. They tie and hold the pigtail sort of lead for the steering wheel into the base itself. So I'm going to get rid of those 2 cable ties, and then the lead itself will come free. I'm going to unplug this one from here, pulling nice and gently, and you want to try and bend it like so, just to help it get through, because you want to pull it from this end out of the base completely. It actually goes right through the shaft that is driven to drive the wheel itself. So you want to make it nice and as easy as possible to get out of there, and it is just that simple. So now that it's out, we can have a look at what's involved. I'm not going to, actually I won't do it today, but I'm going to have a look at what's involved in undoing it from this wheel itself. It doesn't look like it's a plug-in, a plug and unplug deal, like most wheels are. It looks like you actually have to undo it and pull this apart to get it out from the inside, because what I would actually like to do is just make sure, I'd like to cut this down and get rid of the paddles, all that sort of gear, and just have that unit sort of sit to the side of me while I'm using the wheel, so I can actually use the buttons that way and not have a whole wheel sitting there. Sort of, I guess, streamline a little more. What we will want to do next though is we want to pop a hole in the back, so we can bring that cord, we want to plug that lead back in. I'm going to bring it out of this side, which is the back left side, because of my shifter, my handbrake and all of that sort of stuff. It's going to be off to the left, so I'd like to have this off to the left of me as well, just for ease of everything like that with the new rig. So we're going to have to pop a hole in the back of there. To do that, we'll grab a cordless drill and a small drill bit. We only need something like a 5mm drill bit. You can see that the lead itself is not that thick. Then it needs to be a 5mm, and then I'm going to just chop out so that we can run it back in and just slot it in without having to sort of make a hole big enough to fit that head through. Alright, so keeping in mind, we want to try and steer clear of the posts where we're going to have any screws or anything. We want a nice little clear piece of I guess real estate here, just a clear spot. So I'm going to drill it just in here. I'm going to drill from the outside in, but be very careful not to hit anything at all. So nice and slow, nice and easy, should get the job done fairly well. So now you'll see I've got my hole drilled, and I just want to chop through that essentially. Use my snips. Chop one. Chop two. I thought that was going to be the one to make the noise. So now I've got a nice little notch there. Obviously any kind of thing like this you're going to do to this wheel is going to avoid any warranty. So make sure you're okay with that, or you're outside of your warranty period. For me, that's not an issue. I'm outside of the warranty period. I've had this thing for a fair while. So now It is as simple as putting that back in, run your lead down where you want it to be, push it into its hole, and now I'm good to sit the top back on. So as you can see, that's not ideal to have that sort of dragging around with you and whatever else. Also, one thing I should note is before you do anything like this is a 240 volt version. We here in Australia use 240 volts. You obviously don't want that plugged in while you're doing any of this. So make sure you've unplugged everything. This is the only lead you should have aside from this once you're finished. This is the one that actually plugs into the USB that goes to the Xbox itself. Make sure everything's unplugged, be nice and safe. And then I put the lid back on. Another thing to do in case you've moved your wheel is double check. Essentially you can double check by turning it, but you have to really be careful about what you're doing when you're turning it. I'll test it at the end to make sure with the actual wheel itself so I know where the positioning is. So much easier than trying to figure the position. So if you kind of finish with it and it's kind of turned out, you don't know where it's sitting. We'll do that at the end before I screw these two top and bottom screws back in. Actually these 7 I'll skip for the moment. We know they've got to go in though. There's a 3 in the top we've got to do. Okay, so this is going to get the better of me now. We've got the 1, 2, 3, which I didn't get to show you properly earlier. They're the only 3. They bolt the top to the bottom, 7 around the base. So sit that back down. We'll get this one back on now. That sits on the front. You'll see there's actually posts for it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sit that there, keeping in mind that recess points downwards. We'll get that in place. Do the same thing again. We'll be nice and quiet. Get through this quickly. Alright, so there we have that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeping in mind that sits at the bottom. Now we'll get the wheel itself on. Here it is in all its beauty. Let's look, there is a fair weight difference there. Nowhere near as much as the other wheel that I showed you. It would have been. But I'll sit this out. Being deep dish, it should sit nice and happy. Slides on, not an issue. And look, that's what we have. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that is it, nice and clean. Again, with this thing, it's going to be very difficult to show you. But at the moment, I've still got my buttons there, which makes life nice and easy. That's it there. Again, like I was saying before, we'll check it at the end once this is on to make sure we have the right rotation. So what we want to see is 1 full rotation and a little bit. Come back. 1 full rotation and a little bit. That is the go. So that is essentially how it's sitting. What I'll do is I'll get it all buttoned up completely. I'll sit it on the rig. I'll get photos of it. Yep, that's right. I'll get photos of it so you can see what it looks like, and that's how you put it together, ladies and gentlemen. Is that easy? Again, I'll try and figure this out. I'd like to kind of cut these down a little bit and sit it nice and snug into here so that it's not too much of an issue. It's not too obtrusive. But the great thing about this is I've now got rid of those paddle shifters. There's nothing in the way anymore. I no longer have that handbrake. It might be a lot more beneficial sitting in the one spot for me. Who knows? We'll find out when the time comes. But we also now have this sitting here so that it should be nice and easy to also connect our handbrake into it rather than trying to break into the wheel again to do all that. I'm much happier with the way this is now. I don't feel there's too much more weight in that than this was. So time will tell when we actually get to drive the thing. And that's that. Thanks for hanging around, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Again, if you like what you see, please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends about me. Let's help grow this community. I am also on Mixer. Keep that in mind. Simple to find. Static Oz everywhere. Hope to see you again soon. Take care. Catch you on the next one.